to introduce my guest, beautiful Brenda. And how do you pronounce your last name? Because I don't want to mess it up.
Saenz.
Saenz. I knew it was different. I remember your husband mentioning, and I have forgot how to do that. Brenda is a very talented tarot reader, definitely gifted. I have had one reading with her, and I knew she was on point the minute she started sharing what she was seeing in the cards. So let me share a little bit of a bio with all of you that may not be familiar with her. You may have some people from your platform listening in. Welcome, everyone. My name is Ida Farhat, if you don't know, and this is Conscious Heart Solutions. Welcome. So, I'm going to share Brenda's bio. Brenda is 41 years old. She was born in the state of Florida. She had her initial awakening 3.5 years ago, which was the catalyst for great changes in her life. Brenda had experiences that caused her to hit rock bottom, which sparked a desire to make the necessary changes in order for her to end chaotic and self-sabotaging behaviors. She became a self-actualized through this process and has continued her journey in personal spiritual development as well as assisting others. Brenda was ready to see Brenda was ready to see through and past the darkness in her own life and use her experiences to create a platform where, through healing her own trauma, she is able to share her knowledge and wisdom to others and assist them in their own journey. Also to remind them that they too, through their willingness to heal, can become stronger. Brenda is a certified life coach, spiritual development coach. She also has a master certification in tarot and chakra healing. Sorry. Okay, so Mercury retrograde, blame it on the universe, whatever you want. But welcome, Brenda. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me on. Very much. It's an honor to be on here.
Yeah, very exciting. So we're just gonna I shared a little bit of your bio, but this is the time that the platform is for you. This is an open discussion. We are going to sit back, the audience, those that are live or they're going to be visiting the YouTube to listen to it on their own time. We'll have an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better through elaborating on your story and how you've gotten where you are and what it is that you do now in order to serve humanity through the different services that you offer and so forth. So, but first let's focus on you and who is Brenda? Please share with us.
Well, I'd first say I was adopted into a home that I was the only colored person in my household. And I very much always felt a huge detachment, like I never belonged there. I did not have the greatest relationship, I'd say, with my adopted mother. So even as a child, I was always seeking out that other part of me that was missing. Meaning feeling accepted, meaning knowing that you don't look like anybody in the household that you're growing up in. And then going through the experiences that I went through as a child, which was very hard. It was very damaging. And it also was what brought me into the point of, at about 5 years old, my mind clicked in that survival mode. And I knew that I was on my own. I knew that I couldn't speak. I knew my feelings didn't matter. And I knew that I was in a place where I never felt like home at the time. Because I never understood, why did I look different, or why was I treated different, or why are you always so angry at me? And then it went on to the point to where I would have to say at 5 or 6 years old, I got to the point where I disliked myself. And that was very hard as a kid, to get up and hate yourself and hate what you look like and hate the skin you're in and hate the home that you live in. Because I love my family and I've learned a lot, through my awakening process to understand why they are the way they are and why I went through the experiences I went through. But at the time, I didn't. So I started to self-sabotage myself at a very young age. And it just kept growing and growing, that anger and that disconnect and that only wanting that unconditional love. That was what I was seeking from anywhere and everybody I could get it from.
Mm-hmm.
Then unfortunately I went through situations of, molestation in the home. And for then on, that really changed me and transformed me to where even at a very young age, I seeked attention from anybody that would give it to me. And as I grew and got older through my teenage years, I was very promiscuous. I just wanted unconditional love from anybody that would give it to me. Ended up getting pregnant at 16 years old. Thought, oh, okay, somebody's going to love me. I'm going to have somebody to love. And I ended up losing the baby, which was fine. But I just went on and I kept on repeating that same behavior because I just wanted somebody to care for me. And being shown, touch, and feel by somebody that I trusted and looked up to, especially in my home, I thought that was right. That was the way you seek love, because you got that love from a family member. You got that love from somebody that you trusted in that manner. So that was all I ever knew. So even growing up in high school, I was very much ridiculed. I was the hoe, I was a slut, I was a whore. And what people don't realize is women or girls at that time, at that age, that's all we know. We didn't know anything else. I hate to get emotional, I'm sorry, but we didn't know anything else.
Don't be sorry. You could cry. You are, yeah.
That was the only thing that I ever knew. So I would go and seek it from anybody that would give it to me. And I was ripped down and apart for it. But nobody knows anybody else's battles. Nobody knows what anybody else is going through. And I was ridiculed, and torn down. And then I just figured, well, that's all I am anyways. That was the label. And even starting as a kid, I picked up every label and I made it me. I made that me. I'm that person. You tell me I'm not going to mount anything, I'm not. You tell me I'm going to be
Oh, you're making me, I'm going to start crying too.
You tell me I'm going to be a
I get it, Brenda.
This wrong? I made that a label.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to school and that would be my label. And then I was a label anyway, so why not be that way? And then you go home and you get it in a different way. And I grew up in a home with 5 kids. I was a baby. And all I wanted since I walked through that door, was dropped off on that doorstep, as I say, as a baby, all I just wanted was somebody to love me. And I've learned, even going back in my mother's womb, I was in survival mode. I knew from the beginning, since I've gone through this awakening, I knew that I was on my own. I knew that I was going to be that self-soother child. I knew that I was going to go through everything I went through. But growing up, it was hard, and I did. And women, we make ourselves that label. And that's what I did. I'm ugly, I'm this, I'm fat. I mean, I love my parents, but, you know, weight was a big deal. Image was everything. You don't let anybody know what goes on in your home. So that's what I did. I lived in that illusion, and therefore, until I went through this awakening, I still lived in that delusional world that was created for me. And everything that they said I was, I made it me. Even by the people I chose to give myself to, a piece of myself, over and over again. It was very hard for me to be able to see past that. Because nobody would ever say, oh, you're this, you're that. It was always something negative. I went on through the years, like in high school, I was 18 years old. I met a man that was 28 years old. He knew how to charm me. He was like the snake charmer, the puppet master. I ended up getting pregnant with my first kid. I did not know shit of what I was doing. But I knew I wanted that unconditional love, and I knew if I laid down with this man and maybe had a baby, maybe he was going to love me. But in the end, he didn't. And I was left alone with a baby. And that was hard. And I didn't even know what the hell I was doing, because in my own home, I didn't have an example. I knew how to yell. I knew how to scream. I mean, I could have dragged her down the stairs. But I didn't know how to be a mother. So I made the mistake of what? Being a friend. Because I didn't have a friend. And now to this day, she's 23 years old, and I haven't talked to her for 3.5 years. Because I was her friend. And all the mistakes she made, I made. You know, all the mistakes I made, she's made now. And I can beat myself up every day like I have for years. I never had a connection to my children because I never learned how to have a connection. I didn't know how to be a mother because I didn't have the best example. I didn't even know how to be in a relationship because in my home I didn't see that. I didn't know how to express my feelings because you couldn't. So it was very hard. It's a very hard road. I then on became a drug addict. Because why not? I mean, you're useless. You can't even raise a baby, right? You're promiscuous. Nobody's ever really going to want you. The only thing you have going for you is your body or what's between your legs. Like, let's just be honest. So that's all I knew. I didn't know anything else. And then any man that gave me attention, I was going to take it. Because I didn't know anything else. Like, well, I mean, what else? What else did I know? That's it. So I went on and I would lose my child. Have to give up custody, get custody back. Have to give up custody, get custody back. Because why? I didn't know how to be a mother. And my mother, I wasn't going to fight her. I gave birth to that child and I woke up and I heard, you have this much money in hospital bills. Are you going to be able to pay that? I had a heart attack and flatlined on the delivery table at 18 years old. And I had a 2-pound baby to take care of. But I was never allowed to take care of her. So she was raised by somebody else. Raised by my mother. She wasn't raised by me. So that was very hard. And I would always strive to be good. I would always strive to be better. I would always strive to be the change for her. But when you have that label already in your head, it's hard to do. It's hard to be. It's hard to want to change. It's hard to even want to give yourself a chance. When I went through life failing at so many things, from school, from trying to do college, to try to go to beauty school, I tried everything. But I already had that label program. So anything I would try to succeed at, I would never make it. And when I went on and I met a man that was in the military and everything was supposed to be great. And even my family said, oh, he's great. You know, he's in the military. He's going to take care of you and your daughter. It's going to be great. When I went on and day after being married, I was being dragged down 2 flights of stairs. You know, getting the hell beaten out of me.
We have similar stories, big time. Like things that you've shared, it'll blow your mind. If I was to turn around and mirror back to you what I've experienced, you would think you're listening to yourself speak. I mean, some of the circumstances are a little different, but all the, you know, and you are so beautiful. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at you and your features of your face and your full lips and that beautiful hair and your beautiful smile, and I can just see you, how much you radiate. And I think you are gorgeous. I mean that. I really do. And Brenda, you got to know, I mean, I know you know this. You work with people, right? I get it. That pain, you know, we learn how to not, I don't know what word it is I'm looking for, but it gets a little bit easier and a little bit more easier to cope. Why do we get high? We get high because we don't know how to cope. We have no freaking coping skills because we were never taught them. More importantly, we never seen it because children mimic what they see, right? So yeah.
My coping
Anyways,
skills.
please go ahead. Continue. Yeah.
My coping skills came to the point of a pill in a bottle.
But that's not who you are today. No. See, that's where miracles and blessings take place. And that's what I want to reiterate, what I want to say to the guests or those that will be listening, or not the guests, I'm sorry, the listeners or the audience, that if you're listening live or when this gets uploaded to YouTube, just know that she's a miracle. You're looking at one. We are powerful, divine beings. And people can say whatever they want and pass judgment if they want to. But let me tell you who some of the most amazing, creative, genuine, authentic, loving people, when they get clean and sober, we are like amazing, people that refer to as alcoholic and addicts. We are amazing. I'm saying everybody, the whole, we all are divine beings, but there's something very special about a person that goes through that kind of trauma or that kind of pain and turns their life around. The magic that takes place in the heart space of the joy and just the surrendering there's a liberation that comes, right? Yes. Yeah, so I appreciate, and I'm not cutting you off. Of course, you can continue on that storyline if you'd like to, but I'd like to move a little bit into, so where are you at now with, okay, so how do you cope now? And what are the tools that you use? Because the second half, we're going to open it up for us to have more of an open dialogue. So I'm really wanting to focus on you and, yeah.
I think my biggest tools is realizing that I had to challenge my ego and realize I'm not all those labels.
No, you're not.
I had to label myself to, and I had to dig inside of myself. And the biggest thing that I had to do is I had to admit the truth to myself, even about the things that I wanted to be blind about, as decisions I've made, people I've hurt, I've affected, the lies I've told, the paths I have gone down, the chaos and the self-sabotage that I caused myself. And when I got to that point, that was that huge awakening moment for me to realize, you know what? I'm not this piece of shit person that I thought I was. I'm not mental, because I thought I was mental. I was crazy. I needed this. And I realized I had just had so much shit that happened to me in life that I never knew how to properly deal with or understand it. And when I went through my awakening moment, and I think my biggest thing was seeing the effects of my behaviors on other people, meaning the distance, meaning the no trust. And to be honest, when I went through the awakening moment, it was because I had, honestly, I mean, I have no skeletons in my closet. I'm a very honest person now. I'm not ashamed of anything I did. But
that's right.
I hurt my husband. I had an affair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't feel like he loves me or I'm enough for him, or why not? Because that's what I grew up in. That's what I saw. Me and my siblings, I love them all, but I can see the patterns in all of us. Some of us are in our second or third marriages. Mm-hmm. Some of us have all struggled with addiction in some shape or form. And I got to the realization that also is I was at the point where I could just leave a situation and wouldn't even care. It wouldn't even bother me. I could leave and walk out and I had no feelings because I didn't even begin to know what empathy was. I didn't learn empathy. I didn't learn love. I didn't learn how to be even empathetic towards myself or even love myself. And I realized that I had been self-sabotaging myself for so long that I got to the point to where I just said, I'm tired. And he went through the awakening. My husband went through the awakening. And then I think it was just the moment to realize that I had brought him to that brinking point that I didn't want to be that person anymore. I didn't want to hurt people. I did not want to keep going down that same path, because in the end you realize it doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't.
Well, there's nothing to gain. It's really it's a false what's the word I want to use? So you gain nothing. You get temporary satisfaction for something, and then you end up in so much more pain. It's like, we do the same thing over and over again, and the insanity of it is it's like you do the same things, you get the same results. It's that simple. The consequences don't change. When we make choices that are harmful to ourselves or others, you may not face a consequence right in that moment. You may have some false, idea that somehow you've gained something, but what you lose is so much more. Your integrity, your peace of mind, your joy, all of the things that right, when we're in survival mode, it's difficult to have those experiences. I will tell you that we don't learn to love. We become it. We become love. We become honest. We become our greatest expression. And we are always, even with the horrific things that we experience, we are always right where we need to be for our highest soul's experience. And believe it or not, some of our greatest learning comes from, I would say the majority of our greatest learning, to become a learned being means that you have to have some experiences, right? You have to go through hell to know heaven. You would not know, right? So I don't wish people to suffer, right? But I'll tell you, and I know this to be true for myself, I can't speak for other people, but suffering comes from replaying the same story over and over and over again, right?
And the same pattern.
And not, right, and then we end up acting it out in our patterns because our thinking has to change. The way our perspective, can't change my past, but I can change my perspective on it. So instead of saying, oh, my life was so fucked up and I grew up in this and this and this, and I'm not, this is nothing to you, I'm saying for myself. I now say, wow, look at all the things I experienced. Look what I learned from those experiences. Look how strong I am. I was able to make it through it. So we don't change our past, but we can change our perspective. And just what you're doing, Brenda, by creating the platform that you have, doing the work that you're doing, working with the people. I admire you. I think you're amazing. And keep doing it. We need people like yourself, more women, to show up, being genuine, being vulnerable like you are, being able to cry, and not in a pity poor me, but no, say, hey, wait a minute, I'm hurt. And it's okay. And it's okay to ask for support or to be, present yourself how you are, because it's genuine and authentic. And I appreciate that about you. And I want you to know that, sister. I honestly do. Because I get it. I mean, anyways, you've got a while, so keep going.
But my biggest thing was I was just tired. I just got tired of it.
Yeah.
It literally weighed me down. And it was at a point to, honestly, I probably weighed about 110 pounds, like soaking wet. And I thought that was beautiful. I thought I looked great. Because why? Because I hid behind the fucking mask my whole life.
I'm thinking like you're making me fit, right?
I wore a mask for everything. I had a mask for my friends. I could cheer at my friends. I could help them. I could give them money. I had a mask for my partner. I had a mask for my children. I had a mask for my fucking self, so I wouldn't have to see myself or acknowledge the shit that I was even doing to myself or other people. it got to the point where the mask was just so natural. It was just a part of me. It was who I was. And when I went through the awakening, I realized I had been wearing a fucking mask my whole life. I don't even know at that moment who the fuck I really am. Who are you? Who are you? Because you're not this person.
Yeah.
Because you're tired. You're starting to see through your shit. So who are you?
Well, that's hitting rock bottom, like what you were talking about in your bio, because it's not until then till we're stripped away where the universe will take everything from us and say, okay, now what? Now what are you going to do? So we get broken down to build ourselves back up into our true selves. And you never arrive. You're always aspiring to be your highest expression of your soul expression. And let me just remind you that doesn't always mean light. There's a misnomer. People are being misguided when we think. And I had somebody say to me, you know, Ida, it's probably best for you to polarize light, because no, I prefer to be neutral, right? Not that darkness is not evil. Darkness is part of our expression. We live in a dualistic reality, but we can raise our frequency to a point and expand our awareness and our consciousness to a point where we can be in a neutral space and rather judge the addict or adoration for the celebrity, have some balance, and don't, you know, we can lift each other up and adore, you know, each other, admire each other, but don't become dependent on others to fix you, because nobody's going to fix you. They can, right. And I went through that. I went through that where I was reaching out to all these different readers, and Tara and this and that, and finally the universe said, no, you got some gifts, girl. You need to sit still and start tapping into your own stuff. And which, you know, my whole, yeah. So go ahead. Anyways.
Even to this day, to be honest with you, I have moments and I look at myself and I'm like, you're helping change women's lives. You
Yes.
are turning so many women around because why you are so passionate, because you do not want anybody to walk down the path that you have. And if anybody has been on my lives or has had a reading with me, I'm real blunt. I'm sorry, I'm not really faint of heart. I tell these women how the fuck it really is. Yeah. And that's what they need to hear. Because if I sit here and I dance around it and I do this, I'm not helping them. Mm-hmm. And plus I have the gift that I'm very appreciative to. I can pick up their thoughts. I can pick up their feelings. I can pick up things that they don't want to admit to. And I can pull things out that need to be pulled out. And I have had a very huge success rate. I have a lot of women that I get in my messenger and tell me, thank you. You have changed my life. Or
I love to hear that. Yes. Well, that's how I found you. One of your clients / friends who is the one that recommended me to you. And I'm very glad. I'm thankful that I've met you, Brenda. I value you as a sister, as a soul sister, knowing that you're doing the great work. I do. I appreciate you. I just want you to know that. I don't have to see your page or see the people that you're working with to know that you're doing the work. Because I too have gifts, right? So that's how I know, and I appreciate it. Anyways, go ahead. Yes.
But through that process, I was just tired. And I decided that there was only two paths of life. You either want to live the good path or you want to live the bad. Mm-hmm. Do you want to keep going down that path? Because I was at the point where I didn't want that life anymore. I didn't want to be looked upon. I didn't want to be accused of things that I didn't even do, but it was always assumed because of the life I lived. I was tired of that. I was tired of wanting to get my emotions met any way I could because I didn't know how to get it met through myself. I was tired of looking towards everybody for happiness because I didn't know it was in here. And I'm not going to lie to you, I still struggle with the point of finding that happiness or realizing at times I don't have to be on a fucking roller coaster every day. I don't have to have that up and down and chaos feeling and everything. I'm at the point where I'm really working on trying to find my inner peace within myself. Because there was that one time when I first started reading. And if you want me to tell you how it came for me to do tarot, I'll be honest with you. I went through the awakening. I started seeing things. I started understanding things. And at first, when you start going through the awakening, I think many people can't agree with it. Like, you think you're fucking crazy because you're like, what am I feeling all this? Why is all this happening? Where is this like electric energy coming from? Mm-hmm. Like, whose voice am I hearing? What is exactly going on? And I was just to the point where like, okay, well, what am I supposed to do with all this? And I had a dream, to be honest with you. And you know how you have those when you're going through these, you have those real vivid dreams, like you can see, smell, taste, touch, everything.
So it's called the astral, and that is an aspect of yourself, and that's actually your true self, by the way. So this is the dream that we're in right now. People don't realize that.
Right.
Just saying. That's your true self, Miss Brenda. Yeah.
There was a lady, and she had a purple cloak on. Like, I colored my hair. I colored my hair purple forever. Purple's my favorite color. Mm-hmm. And it's weird. But she had this beautiful purple cloak on. And she was in, like, an old, just to be honest with you, like, you know those old-timey, like, in the Wizard of Oz, those, like, gypsy wagons?
Yeah.
With the horse going with the crystal ball?
Yeah.
She turned around and she had
amazing.
This cloak. And I was sitting there and I was looking at her, and she said, I don't think you know who I am, or you don't recognize me. But she said, I am your great aunt. And I know you've always wondered where you come from, but she says, I'm here to give you a gift. And I was like, okay, like, kind of like, what? And she turned around and she pulls out a box, and they're tarot cards. And she says, this is my gift to you.
Mm.
She said, this is in your DNA, your knowledge already there.
Your ancestor, yes. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And she said, I want to give this to you. And I took the cards, and she looked at me and she said, but, and I said, what? She said, you are only use this for good, to help change people's lives. Because this is what
Brenda, that's amazing. I love that.
This is your life purpose.
Yeah.
So everything that you've been through so far, this is for you to be able to change what needs to be changed. And I accepted the cards, of course. And then I went back.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And I woke up that day and I said, okay. I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start doing tarot. And I'm going to tell you, the first time I went on, I was nervous. But I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't have to study a bunch. I didn't anything. The first time I flipped that card, I got that energy. I got the vision. I got everything. And I was able to see and connect with anybody that came on. Anybody. Mm-hmm. And it was a blessing.
Yeah.
And it made
so it sounds
me realize,
like all your clairvoyant, claircognizant, all your clairs, all your gifts are online, which means you had to have had a DNA activation.
Very much.
Which is lovely. I mean, yeah, some come in already activated, some get activated. I mean, it's very likely, and I will say, you did make my ears perk up when you said when I was 5 years old, I knew that it was time that I had to be self-reliant. Well, yes. It's around 5 years old that's when initiations take place on this earth, by the way. Right around 5 years old, there's something that we see as a 3D experience that something, an event takes place around 5 years old, and we chalk it up to this happened when I was a kid, whatever. But it actually is memory. It's like a screen memory when there was something else, probably your galactic family, or I don't know, something else going on, military, galactic, it'll be something that probably
Right.
happened. Yeah, because we get initiated into this realm.
I believe that.
Yeah.
And like for me, I mean, it came naturally, but also, of course, I mean, I had my husband who went through his awakening, and he was able to, teach me a lot of wisdom and teach me deeper understanding. But in the end, I realized that it was my choice if I was going to take that path. It was my choice if I was going to use the knowledge.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
It was my choice that I chose to go down this path. I mean, anybody, it's like people I read or I help, I can feed you anything. I mean, I can teach you the knowledge, I can teach you the wisdom, but I can't make you want to change. I can't make you basically want to drink the water. You have to want that yourself.
Well, that's how we become self-actualized. People have to want it. And so we can get teachers and guides, right? But a true teacher teaches a true teacher knows it's a student for life. Okay? First off.
Exactly.
Second off, and I'm a true believer of that, and that won't change until I am taught something other than or receive other downloads to know that. And what's interesting is I saw that posted on Facebook shortly after knowing, because I start writing a book, but that's a whole nother story. Anyways, there was something else that you said something, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but it triggers things in my mind, and I
know, I see it. Your aura changes and you fluctuate in and out.
Yeah.
I see your energy.
Yeah. But it's okay. I can wait. It'll come back if it's important. Go ahead, please. Go on. Brenda, this is fascinating. I think that's amazing. That's so amazing. So you went out and you followed your call. And now you're doing readings and you're helping people. I got a reading from you. I knew you knew what you were talking about. Now, I brought up to you that I had a reading right prior to you that I was not resonating with. Not that what she was saying that there wasn't any truth to it. I just knew when I first saw her on the screen, this doesn't feel right. And then she asked me if I had been vaccinated. Why are you asking me if I've been vaccinated? What does it have to do with my reading? Right?
Nothing.
That's how people vet you, so they can feel into your energy and see what you're in. I knew it right then. So shield goes up. She can't tap into my energy. And I'm feeling like, okay, now I got to sit through a reading I paid $80 for, and whatever. But I can tell you, I know you're the real deal, and I appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I hope that anybody that's listening to this show that might be, that's not familiar with Brenda, if you're looking for a reading, definitely reach out to her. If you want to work with somebody and get some guidance and some answers, I highly recommend her. And anybody that knows me on Facebook or has known me for any length of time knows I'm not recommending anybody I don't truly believe in. I don't. Yeah. So, yeah. Good for you.
After that moment, I had a point to where I started to question myself. So this is what got me to the point to realize that I can heal. Like, I can heal women. I went through the awakening, everything was crazy chaos, this and that. Well, we decided weirdly to go on a family vacation. And you know how I realized that the universe or your spirit guide send you somewhere that you need to have that moment. So we had went to visit. I have family in Alabama, and I had a friend at the time, and we went to go on a vacation. Well, for some reason, ended up at this gas station after I had gone to have coffee with this friend of mine. And I kept trying to leave this little old gas station. And something just made me keep going back in for this or that. Or I was with my friend and she needed this or that. She had a broken foot, this and that. So I'm like, okay, I have to go to the bathroom. I literally had this push of energy And I literally heard somebody say to me, like within my head, is no, you're here. You're here to deliver this message. And I was like, what is this? So I was just like, okay, am I going crazy? So I get to the front counter, and I'll never forget this. This was in Jasper, Alabama. And to this day, I wonder, her name's Ashley, how she's doing. This little old country girl, you know, red hair, her name was Ashley. And I looked at her and I said, I don't know how to tell you this, but I said, I have a message for you. And she looked at me and she was like, what? And I told her, I said, all the pain that you have been through, I said, you're going to be able to overcome that. And what does she mean? I said, when you were 6 years old, hiding underneath the bed because you were afraid of being beaten or abused. And she was like, how do you know this? I said, you're sitting underneath the bed in your trailer, in your back room, hiding. And I said, you've been abused your whole life. And she started crying and she was like, how do you know this about me? And I said, and then you went on and you fought addiction, you fought this, you fought that. But I said, know that your prayers are going to be answered.
Oh, I love that, Brenda.
And she goes, I said, you sit down on your knees and you pray, but you cry. And I said, and the man you're with is not the man for you. I said, because you keep continually picking the same man and the same abuse over and over again. And she started crying and she said, I just left him. And I'm questioning my decision. And I said, if you stay on the path that you stay on, I said, your doors are going to open up for you. Things
yes,
that are going to happen.
Yes.
You never could ever happen. But I said, you have to believe in yourself. And I said, you have to know your self-worth.
Yes.
And I said, you are worth it. And she just sat and cried and she goes, can I hug you? And I said, sure. I said, sure. And that was my first time ever doing this. You know, I thought, am I crazy? Because it was like somebody else was talking for me. And I really thought, like, am I crazy? Like, have I lost my mind?
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she said, I've been praying for a long time for somebody just to understand me. And I said, I do understand you. And I said, and remember, you don't have to live that life and you have free will. Because I kept hearing, tell her she has free will. And I said, you have free will and you can change and you can grow and you don't have to be that person. You don't have to be the label. That's what I heard. And I said, you don't have to be the label. And she hugged me and she said, I don't know if you believe in angels, but she says, you have a glow about you. And I believe that you're an earth angel that was sent here to answer my prayers.
Wow.
And that was a moment that I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I can help. I can help women. I can help people not to have to go through what I went through. And not to put yourself in that fucking label category that everybody puts you in your whole life. And
well, we live in, yes, we definitely live up to them. Well, what we do is we allow other people's projections of who and what they think we should be become that's where the shadow, right? So we become what you think I am, I now become. So as we think, we become, right? Those kinds of ideas. Well, the good news is that we are blessed to be able to play things out in our head and not act out, not manifest them in the material world. But when you can integrate the mind and the heart, or and integrate and balance, bring them two together, and basically, really walk from a neutral space, or stay in a neutral space where you're not so being pulled one way or the other. Because I struggle with that. I'm a Leo sun and an Aquarius moon and rising, and Leo and Aquarius are opposites. So besides the fact that I'm, had a lot of, anyways, I know I go off on kind of side note a little bit, but yeah, hearing stories like that. Of course, I've heard millions of stories like that, but every time I hear one, it's like I've never heard them before. It's so really beautiful. Um, yeah.
And to this day, I go places, grocery store or here or there, and I realize why I'm in the grocery store, because I'm sitting here and I have a message, and I'll go up to people and I say, I don't know if you're open-minded, but I have this message for you. And every time it hits them, and it was what they needed.
Yeah.
And I will continually do that.
Well, we could be its channel for spirit for sure. We all are, but you're definitely in tune with it, which is smart. You're listening. A lot of people don't listen. Yeah.
And I've had situations where I've had messages and I'll avoid a person, and I'll go different places, different stores, and she'll be standing right there. The same lady will be right there over and over. And I say, okay. I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
I'll deliver the message. And it's something that every time they need to hear. And then that made me realize, okay, this is your path. This is your universal path. And you can help change women's lives so they don't have to go through the shit life you went through. You can give them hope where they don't even remember or even think that where hope lies within them. And a lot of women, I remind them, you all have strength. Like Lisa Gomez, she came in right now. Lisa had a reading a couple weeks ago. She wanted to know what was going on with her. I told her, I said, get your ass in gear and start your business and start your life. It's time. It's time. Lisa lived in fear because of her own things that had happened to her in life, which aren't mine to tell you, but situations that she had those limited beliefs and she had given up on herself. So last Saturday, I got a message from Lisa that said, thank you. She sent me her business card. She got her certification. She got everything going. But she told me, she said, if it wasn't for you and you not judging me and you believing in me and you giving me that push, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And I got to the point where I get messages like that, and I never say you're welcome. And I had a friend of mine that we started out, she showed up in my tarot, my live tarots. And we went through the whole awakening process together. And she lives in Canada. Her name's Angela. But she had to tell me, she said, it's okay to say you're welcome. It's okay to admit that you help people.
That's right.
It's okay to do that, because I would always say, oh, well, you did all the work. You made the choices. But Angela had to remind me, hey, you're helping people.
Well, you're offering your energy, which is beautiful. Okay, number one, our energy is our frequency, is our currency. It's not money. So your value is much higher than what, okay, you give yourself a value. Everybody has a right to give themselves a value, right? But it's your energy, and it's that loving, pure energy that helps people heal themselves. You open the space for that, where they feel safe to be able to see from a different perspective, so that they're able to realize that, yes, even if I take one baby step, one step forward until I get to where I need to be, and being supportive like that, I mean, that's fabulous. I just think I think what you're doing, Brenda, is just so beautiful. Of course, you know, it is okay to say thank you. And there's this idea, you know, and I'll say for myself, like, some women have a difficult, once they get to know me, they know I've got the biggest heart in the world. But I'm a pretty direct person like yourself. And, you know, I'm not interested in your man or anything you got or whatever. So a lot of women have a difficult time. They want to know, what do you want from me? Like, they think you want something from them.
And I don't.
Right?
I just want to help.
Right? No, but we can be pure source energy, love, and true light, and extend ourselves that way. We also have to be careful, because there are some that become codependent, or we can have tendencies, I'll admit it, me too, where, so, and that's something I'm still working through, but I'm definitely nowhere near, you know, I'm much further along. Every day we wake up a new person, and we could choose to be life givers or life takers. It's up, it's a conscious choice.
And like a lot of
But
my
you're
thing,
helping yourself so much by helping other people.
exactly.
Yes.
And because I sit here and I even to this day, like I shock myself. Like I'll be like, I can't believe I did this or I got all this and I was right on and this was so clear. And it's like my friend Angela, she has to remind me, she's like, stop forgetting who you are. Stop forgetting your power within.
Mm-hmm.
Stop forgetting the gifts that have been bestowed on you and that you had within you your whole time.
That's right.
Like
but you were gifted. See, and I'm a firm believer of this. You were not, include myself. If we are gifted and bestowed these gifts, and we don't know how to use them, right, properly, and we don't use our power to manipulate or to dominate or control over other people, or including ourselves, if we don't honor what's being gifted to us, it will be taken.
exactly.
Yeah. And or like you'll have to go through some learning lessons in order to be able to reopen those gifts back up, because you weren't either ready. It doesn't make somebody right, wrong, good, or bad. But when we allow the shadow self and the ego to take over to the point where, so my point in saying this to you is when you said it's okay to say you're welcome, or it's okay to honor yourself and knowing that your gifts, that you're a powerful being, and you are. We can say that with confidence without being cocky or arrogant. We get confused, and that I won't. And I say to people, you can take it however you want to take it. That's not my business. Your perception of me is yours alone, not mine. I know I don't open my mouth unless I know what I'm talking about, because that's just me as being a Leo, and pride is like, I will be quiet and I will observe and I will pay attention till I got it completely understood before I go and jump off, and say things that, that, and I'll also be the first one to say, you know what, I was wrong and I apologize.
And I think a lot with me is I had so many limited beliefs about myself that I was letting go, that it was hard for me to believe, like, okay, hey, you really did that. Hey, that was really you. Because my whole life, I'm always used to giving this person and that person and that person credit, that I sometimes forget to give
get it. Yes.
The credit.
Yes. You said it right there.
Very much.
I get it. I do that too.
And now
I still do that. I will uplift, and if I want to use the word praise, I'm not praising them, but I do, like, I honor people, like, for instance, you and other people that I know are gifted and so forth. But I will give it to everybody else that I don't know how to give it to myself. I don't know how to do those kinds of things. I can get when I'm in the mix and I'm not caught up in my ego and I'm just in the flow. Then I realize that is pretty profound what just came out of you. Like, we learn from ourselves. We are our greatest teachers, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of, with me learning and growing into the point I'm at today, I'm at the point today where I can do readings and I, I'm sharing my energy and I'm picking up things. But even after the fact, we have to understand, especially if we're in the line of work that we're in and we're doing what we're doing and all of this, is when we connect with somebody and they are constantly thinking about us, we are going to be able to, they're going to stay connected. And a lot of that happens to where I'll pick up things or emotions or thoughts. And when I first started doing this, I didn't know what was me or what wasn't me. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely.
I thought I was crazy. Like, why?
So do you have techniques that you do to protect yourself? And okay.
Yes, and also it's easy for me now at the comfortability and the path that I'm on with myself that I'll know, okay, this isn't me. This is somebody else. And if you don't mind, I would like to give you an example.
Sure.
So recently, I'm not going to call anybody's names, but recently I was laying in bed and I got this real rush of depression. And then I started feeling suicidal. So suicidal, right? That I had the plot in my head. If I did this, how am I going to do this right to where I won't come back? And this person was so in depth that they were like, that I won't come back. I don't want to be that person that shoots myself in the head and then comes back as a vegetable. Or I don't want my children to find me, or my husband, or I don't want this. How am I going to be able to do this? And I had been picking this up for a while now. And I was like, okay, I looked around and I was like, this isn't me. Like, I want to see my boys graduate from high school. I want to one day to be able to mend my relationship with my daughter. I want to be able to help women. And how am I going to change these women's lives and all these things? Because in 5 years, I promise you, damn it, I promise you, I will be a motivational speaker standing on a stage and healing and helping all women. That is my goal. That is my dream for myself, and I will make it happen. So I put out a post on my page, and I said, basically along the lines of, somebody on here is very much struggling. You're actually thinking of ending your life. And I said, please reach out to me and I'll help you. And I did. I had 2 women reach out to me. And everything I told them I felt, it was one and then it was the other. So I was picking up.
Wow. Yes. Wow.
To talk to her and say, hey, you need to do this, this, and this. You know, you have to get out of this mind frame. And she's like, I'm just so tired. And I said, what exactly are you tired? And so we talked and we were able to do steps and set up a phone call. But that's just how I am. Yes, I hate at times to say, okay, I'm sorry, I have to charge, but I have to keep a roof over my head also. Mm-hmm. I mean, before I went through this awakening, I had a job and I made really good money. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot going on for me. But the universe was like, no. So downgraded life. Let go of the big expenses. Let go of this. And I'm honestly starting from scratch all over again. Yeah. But this is the path that I was told. Do this and things will come to you when it's your time. And I'm all about divine timing. Mm-hmm. I believe divine timing will come in when it's time.
Yeah.
So yes, this is what I do. But if anybody knows me, if you hit me a messenger, I will help you. I will give you words. I will give you wisdom. I will help you move through your day. I will bring peace. I recently had somebody that lost their mother. She was trying to make a hard decision. Well, the mother came through. And I was able to give her the message from her mother. And that was a piece that she needed to be able to move forward. And this is what I do every day. Anybody that messages me, I will help you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you're going through. I'm going to help you.
That's fabulous, Brenda.
And I will continue to do that. And
yeah, I hope that people see this. I mean, we kind of passed through, and I'm not cutting you off, but we passed through the do you need a break? Do you need to, go? Okay, well, we don't have to take a break then. We can keep going. But I just want to have a look on Facebook and see where we're at, see if there's any. Katie, are you there?
Yes, my love, I'm here.
Okay. No, we're not going to take a break, Katie, but I'm wondering, is there any questions for Brenda?
Not that I'm aware of. There's a lot of positive comments, though.
There's comments?
Positive comments, which you can check them.
I'm trying to find it on Facebook, but I'm not.
The show is actually shared out in multiple groups, so I'm looking at everything.
We have.
Here we are. Okay, add to profile. So let me. go on here. Let's just see what some of the comments are. Maybe there's some indirect questions in there that, let's see. Where is, sorry, I don't want to hold the show up with this. I just want to see the comments. What are people saying? I'm curious. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I don't want to hold the show up with this. I just want to see the comments. What are people trying to see what people are saying, but I don't see any comments. I don't see any comments. It's okay. You want to do a reading?
That's fine.
Okay. I mean, it's up to you. Don't feel obligated to do it, but I was thinking maybe if you just maybe did a little reading. Yeah.
I'm having a lot of dreams lately, and a lot of people, from what I'm seeing, like, I'm shown that a lot of us are stuck in our negative root.
Say that again.
A lot of us are stuck in that negative root system of that limited beliefs of not moving forward, not being able to process. And even when I'm with chakras, like in the beginning, I watched all this stuff and it was like, you know, your root and up. For me, in healing with trauma and pain, for my chakras, I had to go crown and down. Because for many people that have been through trauma, we have to be able to see the truth in the situation and understand it to be able to even start healing. Meaning you need to seek the knowledge to be able to see, to communicate to yourself, to be able to open up your heart, to free that anxiety, to love yourself and replant that seed.
Yeah, I had a Kundalini activation, so mine definitely went up and then I came back down. But we just got a message saying that somebody was asking for a reading. I don't know that, I mean, do you want to do, I mean, so how do you want to do this? Do you want to pull a card or two for somebody or, I mean, so the person that just came on was Chandra. Katie, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so her name's Chandra, and Chandra, welcome. Thank you for listening in. We appreciate you. We'll go ahead and open it up and allow, so we don't want to make the readings too long for one person in case somebody else comes in. If you want to just do a couple, I don't know, 2 or 3 cards, it's up to you.
Right.
But tap into our energy and I will be quiet. And Chandra, I hope you get a reading that is helpful and valuable to help give you some guidance, and I trust it will. So, oh, wait a minute. Put that up again. I didn't see it. Sorry, Katie. There's a message that you just sent. I don't see where she's at. I don't see any messages.
She's on the Summer Fusion Facebook page.
Let me go to Summer Fusion. That's why I'm not seeing it. Hold on.
All right. First off, for Chandra, I have the Tower. So I feel like you're going through like a huge awakening moment, but you're stuck. Like you're very much stuck in your limited beliefs. You're having really a hard time finding the truth or seeing things or even seeing yourself. I feel like you're in a very pullback situation, especially within yourself and in a relationship in your life that's very much keeping you stuck in this tower. And also, I get the real heavy feeling that you're like, my shoulders are really heavy, that you're holding on to a lot of your past. Like past relationship, past hurts, past situations, past trauma, past everything that's really keeping you like tied down, which you'll be stuck. When we get stuck in the tower, we're used to the conflict and chaos, and it's very hard for us to move forward because the biggest thing you're lacking is your strength, like your inner will. Like you forgot that you have willpower to change anything that needs to be changed in your life, but you're forgetting that your strength lies within you. And also you need to be more patient, but you also need to show compassion to yourself. Like, you'll sure show compassion to everybody else, but you'll forget about yourself. You'll sure give everything to everybody else, but you'll always be at the end of the line. Like, you have to get to the point to understand where you matter. And this is why you're also going through the awakening moments that you're going through. You have the signs, you're hearing the message, but you're ignoring your intuition because you've been in such a negative state for so long that many of us don't even know how to read our intuition the right way. Because when we're in that negative state, we ignore our intuition, and therefore we don't even listen to it, because therefore we don't even believe in ourselves. But your biggest thing is you're lacking strength, which tells me that you're having a hard time even believing in yourself. Because I have the Four of Swords here that tells me, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy, it's really time for you to go into a point of patience and healing. This is all about you healing. This is all about you understanding that your past is your past and you have to move forward. But your biggest problem is you really need to find the truth. You need to understand the trauma you endured was a trauma that somebody else endured. So therefore it was projected onto you. You have to understand all the negativity that you hear in your mind isn't even your own voice that you're hearing. You're hearing the voice of everybody that created you to be who you are today. So for you to be able to move forward, you have to find your strength. Your strength is the biggest thing you lack because you don't know how to communicate and you don't know how to use your voice and you don't even know how to express what you need to express. Expression is something that you deal with. And you also have a lot of anxiety. You have to be able to breathe through that. You have to be able to trust yourself because your biggest thing is it's really time for you to go through healing.
Okay, so she responded and saying that you're accurate, you're very accurate, and that I'm trying to have, this is from Chandra, I'm trying to have more confidence in my intuition and saying yes, yes. So your reading was accurate to her. She totally resonated with it, which is fabulous. So if there's any other listeners, anybody that would like Brenda to pull a card or two for you, it's up to you. Otherwise, we could just do a...
She has a lot of anxiety and she's always worried about judgment. I just heard judgment. Like you can't worry about what other people think about you. The only thing that matters is how you feel about yourself. And you have to be able to get that comfortability because you have a lot of anxiety, like right in here. Like my chest is really tight. Your solar plexus is really tight, which tells me you really need to work on your sacral. And the more I connect with you, you hear the change in my throat. This tells me very much that you need to work on communication and be able to work on that self-expression. You're always worried about, I'm sorry, things keep coming in, so I'm just going to keep going. But you're always worried about what other people are going to say or think.
That's what she's saying, yes.
And
so this is for Chandra, yes. She's saying yes.
You're always scared to speak. But I'm going to tell you how it is. Even if you don't know how to fucking communicate, it doesn't matter. Say what you need to fucking say, because if not, this is why you get in the state of negativity. This is because I'm picking you up and your mind's like this. You're always racing. You're always racing. You're always worried. You're always this. You're always in anxiety. You're always in some kind of pain. You're always feeling lost. You're not fucking lost because you can find yourself. But your biggest thing is speak what needs to be spoken. It doesn't matter how it comes out. It doesn't matter if you know how to communicate. It doesn't matter what anybody says or thinks. It's for you. We all need to learn sometimes we have to say things for ourselves and not worry about if we're hurting somebody else's feeling or worried about another person's reaction, because you have to do things for you. And that's something that you very much struggle for. And you have things that you need to speak about, and please do it. And no, you're not going to get the reaction that you want, but it's not for anybody else but you.
So she's saying that she just put a post on, and we'll move on to the next person because Jones is asking for to have a few cards pulled for her.
She's in a relationship dilemma.
I'm sorry?
It's to do with the relationship in her life.
No, she's saying Chandra said, I'm not trusting myself and my abilities. I just started with tarot and nervous I'm not good enough and worried about what other people will think.
You can't worry about.
Yeah, so I'm telling her she needs to practice and she will strengthen, and you will strengthen your gifts. We'll move to the next one. I hope that was helpful. Thank you, Brenda, for giving that reading for her. And I encourage you, Chandra, to reach out to Brenda if you want a reading, or maybe you could work with her to strengthen your gifts. She can give you some guidance in how to read if you'd like, but you would have to reach out to her. That would be between you two. That's not part of, she's saying yes. So you could reach out to her. She does have a Facebook page, and we'll make sure all her information is uploaded or put on in the comment section, so you can reach out to her for a reading, and also to work with her if you're interested. I highly recommend her for sure. She said thank you, by the way, Brenda. So, all right, we're gonna move on to Ariel Jones. Ariel, if you're still here, are you still here? Please give me a message in the comment section, so we know you're still here. If you're interested in a few cards being pulled. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's here. Okay. So Ariel Jones. So give Brenda a minute, let her tap into your energy, and then we'll go from there. But we're gonna, yeah.
So first off, I'm picking up an Emperor, and I feel like this is a relationship in your life, and it's a very back and forth situations. You need a lot of clarity. You have a lot of unanswered questions. Like, there are things that I am seeing that you're not seeing clearly, and you're very much ignoring your intuition on this situation. Like, you want happiness, but how are you going to bring yourself happiness? Because you're going to have to play the hermit, and there are lots of things that you need to reflect on. You're very much ignoring a lot of signs that are right in your face, especially your intuition is telling you a lot, because the situation is really keeping you from happiness. Because I have the sun in reverse, and I don't really like that, and you're not using your wisdom. Like, the hermit is about you going in and using your inner wisdom. You may have to withdraw from this situation, because the situation makes you feel alone anyways. Like, I feel like there's a huge lack of communication. I feel like this is always a back and forth situation, especially within your mind, very much so. This is something that you really need to reevaluate and see it for what it really is. Because you want this sun, you want this happiness, but you're not playing the hermit. You're not using your inner wisdom. You're not reflecting. You're not even listening to yourself. And plus, you have a lot of healing to do, because you have a lot of what I call, because I'm very much like, my shoulders are heavy and my lower back hurts. This tells me, like, you carry what I call bluntly is your backpack of shit. Like, you're not letting things go. You're carrying everything. And then past relationships that have affected you, you'll bring into a new relationship, because you haven't even begin to understand or realize that there's a lot of healing that you have to do. And then a big part of you don't even know where to start, because you have so much going on within yourself that you'll pour all your emotions into somebody else, and you'll forget all about yourself. Like, that doesn't get us anywhere. And as women, you're quick to, as I'm shown, like, you're quick to pour your living cup of water into somebody, but you're not getting your cup filled back, not even a little bit. But I have a strong energy with this Emperor, and I feel like also you have issues with men anyways. Like, men are a huge trigger for you, because you've had so much trauma and pain throughout your life that even a man in a relationship is going to trigger you back to your past and your old wounds. You just kind of keep reopening and reopening your wounds. Like, you have to heal yourself, or you're just going to repeat the same patterns and bring the same people into your life over and over again. It is very important that you play the hermit, that you go in, you reflect, you find your inner wisdom, but you also need to find the truth. Like, there is something that you are not seeing. And with the moon, this tells me that there's a lot of concealment. things that you are wondering about or you were unsure of. I very much so am getting the message what happens in the dark will come out in the light. So you're also going to be finding out some things that you have been wanting to know, which is going to bring you clarity, which may get you to the point of the happiness, but you're forgetting your strength because you want a change, you want a new beginning, but you're not going to get there, especially when you just keep repeating your same pattern.
Okay, so that was for Ariel. Is her reading done?
Yeah, I could go all night, but I'm just
Yeah.
gonna.
Okay, because I don't want to. And Shirley, when you're done, you just say I'm done. You don't.
Right.
I don't want you to feel. So Katie, the producer, is saying, could you pull a couple cards for her?
Sure.
Okay. And if anybody is interested, not that we ask for donations on this show, I don't typically do that, but if anybody's interested in offering a donation for Brenda's time, that is welcomed for sure. And we can put when we put her information in the comment section when this is uploaded to YouTube, you can surely reach out to her on Messenger, get a PayPal link, Cash App link, or you can also book a session and book with her to get, because I can tell you, you're going to get a lot of help by reaching out to her. She is the real deal.
Yeah, and when you
Ariel said spot on, thank you.
Ariel, you gotta work on that though.
Yeah. Reach out, Ariel, it's no judgment here, honey. Reach out to Brenda and she'll get you well on your way. I mean, at least help yourself. That's the whole goal, is that we help and support one another. So again, there's no judgment, but if you want some help and guidance, definitely reach out to Brenda for a reading. And just know that you're loved and we appreciate you. Thank you for being, coming on and listening to us. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ariel. Okay, so we'll move to Katie, the producer of the show.
I'm pulling for Katie's got a lot going on.
All right, Miss Katie, this is for you. I love you. Thank you, Brenda, for doing this. This is amazing. I mean, Yep.
All right, first off, like for Katie's current situation, of course, she's working on her strength, but also like I have the devil here, so I also feel like she's working on like bondage and restrictions within herself, like things that are keeping her like trapped or not in motion. Like she's starting to learn that and be able to let go of that because she's ready for that completion of that cycle. And it shows me here that that cycle will be coming to an end because I feel like Katie's kind of been in a back and forth with herself, like within herself, with her strength, with her knowing, and she's letting go of like whatever chains or leftover bondage was left within her. I feel like she's really doing that deep work because we have the world. We're showing me she's about to come to that completion. Very much so.
All
But
right.
also have the Knight of Cups coming in here, Cancer Spicy Scorpio energy, which is Katie. But this night is telling me like Katie's ready for like some romance, like an opportunity, like things shifting for her in life. Very much so. Like she's open for that, which makes sense because of the discussion that we had before we started. But like Katie's ready. She's ready for a change. She's open. She's ready to have somebody fill her cup of water. Very much so, because also we have the Queen of Swords coming in here, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy, and very much like the Queen of Swords is like she's a quick thinker. She has intelligence. She knows what she wants and what she doesn't want. And this tells me that Katie's very headstrong. Like, because why? Because I have the Three of Cups, which tells me that she's going to have celebration coming. She's going to have doors opening up. She's going to have a lot coming for her. Because why? The Five of Cups is telling me that she's at that point to where she's able to get over the sorrow and the disappointment and the sadness because she's already gone through that. So I feel like Katie's in a very deep healing process with herself to where she's opening up herself to love because she's already learned to love herself very much. So I feel like Katie's done a lot of work, and that's why the completion of the world is coming.
That was for you, Miss Katie. She's laughing at me because I told her we're going to call in a beloved for her. And she put in a laughing face, laugh out loud.
She's ready. She's open.
Okay, so we have, I mean, do you want to continue? How are you feeling? I don't want you to feel, yeah.
I'm good. I have Amanda.
Yeah, you have, yeah, there's like, I don't know how many. Hey guys, let's just remember, again, she has not asked for it. I'm asking if anybody wants to send her 10, 15, 20 bucks, Cash App for a reading, that would work. We definitely want to, okay, that would be helpful, or you could reach out and book a session with her. We'll make sure that her Cash App and her PayPal link is in the comment section when we upload the video, so that if anybody wants to reach out and book a session, you're definitely going to get a good reading. Okay, so Lisa Gomez, you do who you want. You could see, right?
Yeah, I'll do Amanda, and then I'll do Lisa. And Amanda and Lisa are some of my regulars. So.
Oh, okay, there you go. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Lisa. Welcome.
All right.
By the way, everybody will see this video off on Summer Fusion TV, but also I am asking for people to go to my channel on YouTube and subscribe. I do plan on having Brenda back. I have grown to really like her, and I'm very happy that the universe has brought us together. So this may be something that, might work in the future. We could do more shows, but yeah.
Sure.
So please show some love to her. If anything, just maybe share the video on your page. Get her more exposure, me more exposure. We are doing this for you, for us, for everybody. So let's support and love one another, please. But go for it. All right, I'm listening. This is pretty awesome. Thank you, Miss Brenda.
You're welcome.
Angela says, Brenda has helped me so much. Oh, I love to see that. Yes. That's super awesome.
All right, Amanda.
Ted Ruiz is asking, where does he donate at? Do you want to share that real quick? So that, please, that way, if he wants to make a donation, people have your information. If you could just put it in the comment section so people could see it. She'll put it in the comment section. Ted, if you're listening, welcome, by the way. Welcome to Conscious Heart Solutions, everyone. We will get her PayPal or her, there you are, PayPal me there. It's right below, Ted. Brenda, Seeing Eye Tarot, PayPal, and there it is. There's a link. If you want to make a donation, I appreciate it for her. She definitely deserves to be compensated for her time and energy, although she is gifting people. You are not required to make a donation, but it would be a love donation, which is highly appreciated. So go for it.
And my Cash App is just the same name as PayPal.
There you go. And her Cash App's the same name.
All right, Amanda, you're at a point of reflection, meaning you're going in, you're working on your inner wisdom, you're working on your understanding, because Amanda, she's just tired. She's tired of the shit. Also, there are things that have been concealed that she has been blind to see that she is starting to see. Very much so. Because Amanda's always been in a point to where everybody's always judging her, but she's getting out of that feeling of judgment, and she's starting to understand why the people judge her and why the people have made her feel like she has felt. And this especially is to do with her family, very much so, especially with the wands coming in. Like, Amanda, you're not ignoring your intuition. You're using your intuition. You're using your inner wisdom, but also you've been working on yourself and you've been educating yourself a lot more, because why? Your guides are coming in. Your guides are coming in. They're showing you. They're showing you things from the number sequence that you've been seeing, to the signs, to your intuition, and to your dreams. Pay attention to your dreams, because your guides are showing me that they've been giving you lots of messages, especially in your dream states. But right here, Page of Wands is coming in very much so. It's telling me that you're coming into you. You're finding that new passion within yourself. You're starting to move forward. You're letting go of that negativity. But you're letting go of that negativity because you're learning to forgive and you're learning to understand people in a way that you never had. Why? Because you've been working on yourself and you're learning to understand yourself, which is bringing you to the point of changing your perspective, which is also helping you change your perspective of others, which is very important. Because right here, 9 of Pentacles, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy tells me like you're building yourself. You're becoming your own self-made woman, not only in your business, but in life. You're building yourself up. Instead of knocking yourself down, you're moving forward. You're making changes. You're making moves for yourself. Because why? The 4 of Wands is coming in very hot and is also telling me that you have harmony coming your way. You're finally starting to break those chains and find the freedom in things that kept you so restricted. People, your family, negativity, your labels, your trauma, your past situations. You're coming out of that. And how I know that is right here, because the King of Cups is coming in and this is you. Okay, just by Scorpio energy telling me that you're finding that love and compassion towards yourself, because why? You're no longer going to be this person, this 5 of Pentacles. You're not going to feel left out in the cold and lost because of your family and people that affected you in a very negative way. This tells me very much you're moving forward. Why? Because you're understanding the judgment. You're understanding why people made you feel that way. And you're understanding why you also created your own shadows within yourself and gave yourself the labels that you did.
Amazing.
The crown chakra is tingling because there's truth behind it. We all make ourselves into a person that we don't have to be, because we let everybody else get in our mind and make us feel a certain way about ourselves. And you can't get to that point. You have to recognize what was yours and what isn't yours. And that's something that we struggle with. Even to this day, your thoughts and your emotions are sometimes a thought of emotions of somebody else that has been projected onto you. So we have to get to the point of comfortability with ourselves to be able to recognize what is us and what is not us. And that also goes especially in relationships.
Thank you for that, Brenda. And that was for, was that Amanda? So Lisa would be next. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, Lisa Gomez, you're next.
And then we have Angela.
And then we have Angela.
And
awesome.
Angela is my friend I told you about in the podcast that always keeps me going and always reminds me of my accomplishments and how far I've come, and even days when I want to give up, Angela, she keeps me going.
Oh, that's lovely. That's fabulous. Yes, that's awesome. You're doing amazing things, Brenda. So don't dull your shine. Keep shining. It's amazing.
Lisa, I like this. I like this. I get excited. Sorry. Lisa, you're doing so good. Like, I feel your energy.
Aw.
You're healing, like you're healing your inner child. Instead of that inner child being so broken and hurt, like literally I'm reading you and your inner child's like jumping up for joy. Usually your energy is at a lower vibration and you're at a high vibration. You're coming in because you're finding that justice, but finding that balance within yourself. Like you're understanding life, you're understanding situations that you didn't understand before. Like you're moving forward. And how I know you're forward is it's 8 of Pentacles. Towards Capricorn, like you're rebuilding yourself. Not only yourself, your business, your beliefs, your change, your growth. Because why have these swords? It tells me, like I said in your last reading, you have so many fucking new beginnings coming for you. You have so many doors opening. You don't even realize the change. And plus, you're healing your past relationships, especially to do with emperors that have affected you in a very negative way in your life. But you're also, with that emperor, you're also using your wisdom. You're finding your wisdom. You're finding your truth. But you finally fucking got your free will, and you're able to forgive yourself, and you're able to move on to where you haven't been able to move on before. So right here, Eight of Pentacles, you worried about your business, stop worrying about it, because it's going to grow and prosper. Like your skills and your hard work and your education, they're going to pay off for you. So stop questioning yourself, because you have a little voice in the back of your head. When is it going to start? Is it going to blow up? Am I going to get clients? Yes, you will. But you have to keep believing in yourself, because when you're in that negative state, you're manifesting the negativity. Please stay in that positive state, because your manifestations will come through. I see them.
It's awesome.
Who do we have left?
Angela. And I think Ted was asking for a card. He's the one that asked about making a donation. So I'm not sure if he did, but if he did, of course, we'll want to.
I'll give Ted a reading anyways. This one, I don't mind.
Yeah. No, I know that. That's not what I was saying. Just yeah. Anyways, keep doing your magic, girl. This is super awesome. I love to watch you in action, Brenda.
This makes sense. Ooh, girl, you got to find out. And I always tell like people, because they ask me, I don't pick these cards. I connect with you and you pick these cards. I give you your message from within you, the message that a lot of us can't hear or even begin to understand where to find it. All right. This doesn't surprise me. Angela, of course, your current situation is you've been playing the Hermit, which we just discussed. Very much so. If you're playing the Hermit, you're going to self-reflection, you're understanding things, you're going into that deeper realm of your wisdom. Why? Because Angela got to the point to where she realized that the judgment that was put upon her was really how others felt about themselves. So therefore, she was able to let that go and start a new path for herself, because what sticks out for me is the clock. Like, she knew it was time to change. She knew it was time to take those new steps, because Angela very much is like that phoenix rising. Angela has done the work. She has let go of what she needs to let go. But Angela plays the Hermit the right way, means that she finds truth in what she is seeking. She listens to her guides, she listens to her inner wisdom, and also she has found her free will within her. Because why? She's playing the magician the right way. Lots of us play the magician in the negative way, like we trick ourselves. And Angela doesn't trick herself. Like, very much so, she chose a path. Even we have the sword, the cup, and the wand, and the pentacle, meaning that she has decided to balance out what needs to be balanced out in her life to be able to grow further, because she's at the point to where she can fill her own cup of water. That's a big thing with Angela. I feel like she has come to the point of comfortability with herself. She can fill her own cup of water. She can start her own beginning. She can believe in herself, and she doesn't have to carry around that swords or that pain that's coming to an end for her. So she has new beginnings in all aspects, in love, in business, especially in growth. And also I see she has a lot of change coming. Like with the moon, there's, to me, I usually pop out, there's no concealment. Like she's to the point to where she understands herself, and she also listens to her consciousness. That's what the Hermit for. We have to go in that time of reflection to be able to even listen to our consciousness, to even be able to differentiate what's coming from what. Like she's at to that higher conscious self, to where she can understand, where she can take steps, and where she doesn't have to sit around and judge herself. because that was a big thing. Judgment, because a lot of us get stuck in that judgment of others, and she's very much able to move past that. Because why? Four Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. She went through a time of healing. She was able to find peace. So therefore, the Three of Pentacles came, and she had many doors that have opened up. Like, this is what felt right to her. And they're very much so. Her experience that she's experiencing right now is the Ace of Wands. She's having a new beginning. Because why? This was her biggest challenge, the Ten of Swords, was being able to let everything go. Because the 10 is when we hold everything. Everything's on our back. This is what I call like our heavy card. Because with the Ten of Swords, that's all your pain, your trauma, your everything. She was able to put an ending to this. She was done with this. Because why? She was tired of always feeling like this. Five of Pentacles, and she is a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is her Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. She was tired of feeling left out in the cold all the time. She was tired of feeling like she had to live in that chaos and conflict. And the biggest thing for her potential outcome was the Six of Swords. She decided to move on. She didn't want to be in the sinking ship anymore. So this is the biggest thing for me that I love, is to see when women decide to move forward. We can either stay stuck or we can move forward. And Angela decided that she was tired of being fucking stuck. She was tired of life being on repeat. So she took that leap of faith in herself to move on and transition.
All right, Miss Angela. Okay.
So we have Ted, and then we have Tori.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you feel up to it? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't want you to, I mean, I know this could be, that's why I say to people, when you're tapping in and doing multidimensional and divination, it does become energetically taxing. So you have to be mindful, that we also respect those that are offering their skills, offering their gifts to us, and understand that, but yourself better. Yeah.
Ted is working on changing his perspective. This is something that Ted has struggled with, especially changing how you view and think of yourself. This is something that is very strongly coming in for you, very much so. Like, you have to change your perspective, especially how you view and see yourself. You've only seen yourself through other people's eyes, and therefore, Ted, you only look at yourself as the way that the picture was painted for you, if that makes sense to you. Like, you have to change your perspective. You have to understand whatever you did, that was your past, and it's time for you to move forward. You're having trouble seeing yourself as who you are and the changes you have made, because I feel like recently you've made a lot of positive changes in your life. I feel like you have taken a huge leap of faith in yourself that you never thought you could, because you're ready for some stability and structure in your life. Because I feel like your whole life you've kind of lived in conflict and chaos, which you're used to the roller coaster, because you can't communicate properly to yourself, which is hard for you to solve any problems. But I feel like it's very time for you to go through a point of reflection or assessment, because you're ready to make that movement and speed, because you want that completion and find that solitude and put an ending. But your hardest thing for you to see is that there is going to be new beginnings. You are going to have opportunities. So therefore, you are going to be able to make different choices or decisions within yourself. Because what? You want the world, you want the completion, you want the bondage, you want to break the cycle, you want to break the chains, you want all these things, you want success, you want growth, but you have to find closure, and that's closure within yourself. Forgive yourself. There are things and actions that you did to other people that you are holding on so tight that you can't even forgive yourself for. Like, this world tells me that you have a chance for a new horizon. You have a chance to find that conclusion and that rebirth, but you have to find that closure within yourself. It's time to get off the roller coaster. It's time for you to believe in yourself. And the only way you're going to stay off that roller coaster is if you change your perspective in yourself. And the biggest thing is you have trouble forgiving yourself. We all make mistakes. We all do dumb shit. We all hurt people because we're hurt. But you can't live in there. And that's what you do. You live in there in your mind. Like, I want you to, first thing I hear, make a routine. You need to make a routine. You need to make a routine for yourself. You need to wake up the same time. You need to set a routine for yourself because your mind runs over time. You need to learn to file your filing cabinet the right way in your head. And when you're at the state of the negativity, you can't change your perspective. You can't forgive yourself. And you can't find closure within yourself. You're always going to be on that roller coaster. And that's why your mind is running. Like, I'm picking you up and you're literally running. And not everybody's going to understand you or the choices that you made or as you say, all the dumb mistakes. And that doesn't fucking matter. It matters that you took a leap of faith in yourself to change. And if people can't support you and they can't believe in you, it's not for anybody to believe in you. It's for you to believe in yourself. And that's something that you struggle with all the time. That's why you always move forward and then move backwards, move forward. You can't let the negativity of others and the words that are said to you take you back to a place, because you've had a lot of trauma. Like, I don't even need to pull cards on you. Like, you get yourself stuck in time, and then somebody will come and trigger you. And then you're going to click back in time. And what I see with the clock, I keep seeing a clock, like you're stuck in a time loop. You get stuck in that time loop. And then you go through that relapse. And then you relive everything that's ever happened to you. Like, you got to realize that you are alive and you have survived the shit that you have survived for a reason. And you need to stop questioning it, because you have a purpose in this world, and your story and your path and your chaos and your roller coaster is going to be able, by you sharing that, you're going to be able to save somebody else's life to where you thought you couldn't even save yourself. I hope that makes sense to you. But please stop getting yourself in the time loop. Yeah, I keep seeing a clock. So when I see the clock, it tells me like you're stuck in a time loop. And stop letting everything trigger you. Go to the point to what I tell people is that negative voice in your head, that's your ego. And your ego, because I hear your ego. Your ego was created for you at a very young time, because Ted, all you know is fucking survival mode. You don't know anything else. You don't know anything but pain. You don't know anything but chaos. You don't know anything else than trauma. You don't even know what it's like to be loved. And this is something that you've wanted your whole life. You just wanted that unconditional love that you couldn't even get. And you've been seeking this your whole life. And therefore, when we get in these addictions, it kind of numbs that. And therefore, we feel like we're getting our emotions met through a bottle or a pill or a drug or anything. And then your biggest problem is, Ted, is you're addicted to your addictive behaviors, meaning your self-sabotage, you're not feeling worthy, your pain, your trauma, your repeat. That becomes an addictive behavior. And that's when you come into that self-sabotage. You have to get out of that, because people don't realize addictions are also behaviors.
Absolutely.
Behaviors that we are shown and we label ourselves, and that is who we become. And I really want you to work on that. And your biggest thing is, I need you to change your perspective, because you have the world at your fingertips. Because you also know you've been in situations where you're surprised that you're even alive. I just heard that. I'm surprised I'm even alive right now. You're alive because you have a bigger purpose. You're alive because you have the whole world ahead of you. But I really need you to start working on you. Like, you're very much stuck in your inner child. You're very much stuck in the point where you can't even believe or trust in yourself. And when we're stuck in our inner child, as I was for a very long time, we're stuck in that time loop. You're not there anymore. And no matter what happens, it's something I keep hearing for you. No matter what happens, it's not going to be as bad as it was the first time. It's not going to be as bad as it was when you were a kid. Like, you can heal, but you have to realize that inner strength lies in you. But until you change your perspective, especially how you view yourself, you're always going to be back on that time loop. You're always putting yourself in those situations and predictions that you shouldn't. So I really want you to work on how you view yourself. And this is an exercise that came to mind for me to tell you to do, and I hope you do it. I want you to carry a notebook. And every time you have a negative thought that comes into your mind, I want you to write it down. And then I want you to write next to it, like, I'm worthless. No, you're not worthless. You're not worthless because you're still alive. I want you to write down every negative thought, and next to that negative thought, I want you to put down something positive that about yourself, or something positive that you want to become, because I want to teach you how you can challenge that negative ego within you, and you can also learn to trust in yourself and trust in your thought, and also a way that you can let go of that negativity that you carry inside, because it's all about challenging. You're going to have to challenge your ego. You're going to have to challenge your negativity, and you're going to have to stop wearing a label. So I want you to journal. I keep hearing you need to journal. You need to write down, because you need to read it and see it and process it. So your negative thoughts, I want you to put a positive. First positive thing is you're alive today. Second positive thing is I can tell you about yourself, you're a survivor. All your triggers, they don't have to be. We all get triggered, but we have to learn how to process the emotions around it. And that's something that you really need to work on, because you are I see you're so quick to just give up on yourself and say, fuck it. I don't want you to do that anymore.
That was an awesome reading. And I just want to say to Ted, I saw your post. Congratulations on your 4 months clean and sober. That's huge. That's a huge accomplishment. Know that you're loved, you're supported, and reach out, to, I don't know if you're already working with Ted, Brenda, but yeah, I mean, just don't give up on yourself. Don't give up. Because every day that you choose to love you first and to make yourself and your wellness a priority, and your safety and well-being, and take full responsibility for your recovery, that's the whole thing. I've been in and out of recovery. I was since I was, 12, 13 years old. So I had my awakening, and then some people would suggest that you can never heal from addiction. And I'm here to tell you, you can. And I have. And, but it requires rigorous honesty, right? Like the book talks about, and sitting still and processing, like what Brenda's saying, being able to write down the thought forms and then replace them. And I would even say, and not to overgo, but I would say, write 3 things next to it that you have. Even if it's, I'm smart, I make a good cup of coffee, I fold my clothes well, I clean my house good. It doesn't matter. Any little thing that supports your self-esteem, because it's our lack of self-esteem, our lack of worthiness, our lack of value, or what we perceive to be valuable about ourselves, and what causes us to feel so defeated, like we can't get one foot in front of the other. But if you wake up in the morning time and the mind starts going, and I've been off drugs for years, but yes. I will tell you, I have to change my thought forms. Say, not today, buddy. I fly open my curtains and say, good morning, good rising. Instead of saying good morning, I've replaced it with good rising. Good rising, source. Thank you for this day. I look forward to all the blessings, the amazing people I'm going to meet. I look forward to being of service and to bring value to people's lives. I look forward to calling all the abundance that is here for me, that I know is stored in my vortex. I'm ready to receive it. Please show me. What is it? Help me to have eyes to hear, eyes to see, and ears to hear, and a heart that knows, not believes, a heart that knows. Knowing and belief is two different things. And just remember, belief. So it's important that we know that we come from a place of knowingness, that we trust that we have people like Brenda to reach out to, that nobody's here to judge you. There's nothing to gain by judging you or condemning you. And that there are support groups. There's meetings on Facebook. They have AA and NA meetings. I know they do Zoom meetings, and there's local meetings, and there's people that are gifted with tarot and divination that can give guidance. I mean, this has been a fabulous show.
I'm glad. I mean, I believe, like, at first I would always beat myself up for everything I've been through, but I realized everything that happened to me, even how horrible it was the best possible thing that could have ever happened to me, because I was able to open up my eyes. I was able to see. I was able to understand I did not want to be that person or go down that path of life anymore. And therefore, because of all my experiences, even negative pain and hurt, I'm able to do what the fuck I can do today. And I'm able to help others because
so can I ask you something? Can we make we can hold each other accountable? We can be accountable buddies, friends.
Right.
We're gonna, even including me, because I keep talking about the same story, and it's just a story. It's not our truth anymore. It was an experience. It's not who we are today.
Exactly.
And July is huge, and by the end of the month, I intend to let go of my story. Let go of. I mean, I have 200 book pages written, a cover done, an introduction to a book, and I will finish that book one day. But it's definitely going to be edited and rewritten. Why? Because I'm not the person I was when I start writing it in 2012, right?
Exactly.
And not saying that wasn't, those things. It's just my whole point of writing the book was to inspire and uplift and support people. And what I found was I was writing an autobiography of all my traumas and woes, right? And that was not the point of the book. So anyways, my point, and every day and every moment, we can choose a different thought, we can choose a different feeling, and we can choose a different action.
Exactly.
We are the creators of our own reality. And no matter how much, and I'll speak for myself, that I've wanted to blame everybody else on the outside of me, ultimately, for whatever reason, my soul agreed to be incarnated in the family I was incarnated, experienced, because like you, Brenda, I went through being raped, beat, molested. I was using Monarch Mind Control Program, My Lab, all the stuff. And I don't, I don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I don't minimize it or,
Of course not.
yeah. But I also know that I can't stay stuck. What I need to know, I know I'll know, right? What I need to know, I still search, a little bit and try and understand and make sense of certain things. But for the most part, we just sit still and listen to our own inner voice. So much comes to us.
Exactly.
And we always have a choice to either love or hold hatred in our heart and resentment. And I don't want to be that person. So,
and I think a big thing for me, and it took me a lot to figure it out. And like, I was learning and working on shadow work, like with my husband. And he kind of made me realize that at some point, like, I started creating my own shadows.
well, we get stuck in the thought. We get stuck. Okay, right. We do.
At that moment, it was
I did that myself.
aha moment that if I keep living the way I'm living and I keep doing what I'm doing, then I'm never going to get rid of anything. And then a lot of things, like when I went through like the healing and the changing of the root, I realized that I wasn't only healing my mother's root, but I was healing also a root of somebody I've never met that gave me up. So I was going through the root that I had from the seeds that were planted from my adopted family, but then I'm also healing an unknown root that I know nothing about. And then I picked up some of her pains and trauma, and I was like, holy shit, this isn't me. And then it made me realize I'm not only healing myself, I'm healing you, I'm healing this woman, I'm healing that woman. I'm starting a change. And it was very emotional for me because I'm not going to lie, like, I'm adopted. Ever since I was a kid, all I have ever wanted was to know where I came from. And even the fact now to this day, I took the Ancestry DNS, I still don't have the answers. But I saw her, and I know that by me doing what I'm doing, I'm not only healing myself, I'm healing her. And then I'm healing the ancestors, and then I'm healing this, and I'm healing that. And that was very powerful for me because for a long time I felt so incomplete.
Well, you know what else is helpful too, if we can just consider, I'm going to shift this a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and go into it because I'm getting, okay. So if we can appreciate that we are born into these families, we incarnate, and I'm a firm believer of reincarnation. I know it to be true. If we want to call it reincarnation, we come from one frequency, dimension,
Oh, yes.
we come into this material world, and we have our whole thing, our whole different timeline set up. So every time you have a thought, whichever way you choose, you change your timeline.
Very much.
So I could get up and go outside and go for a walk, or I could sit here on the couch, right? I could play it out in my mind that I've gone for a walk. These kinds of things. My point in saying it is that we are born in these families and these conditions and these experiences so that we can grow our soul.
Very
And we
much.
would not learn and become learned beings and gain the wisdom we have had we not had the experiences we had.
Exactly.
And we also are playing out karmic relationships
Oh,
and
yeah.
ties with people, right? So you might have been the mother your last lifetime that gave up your child to
Very
your
much.
mom, right? I'm just using this in theory. I mean, nobody's saying that that's the truth. What I'm saying is like I had a lot of anger towards my mom for a long time. And I flew to Arizona and I said to her, I choose to love you instead of hate you. And that next morning I woke up and I wanted to cater to my mother. I loved her. At one point she couldn't look, she couldn't breathe right. Like I was not liking her. Okay. Very angry. And then I went from that to saying, I have got to release this. I have got to make amends. I've treated my mother poorly. I've put all the blame on her as if she's the one that done the harm to me because she didn't protect me. You're my mother. You're supposed to be there. But, you know, all the things that the inner child that we tell ourselves, all these stories that we, as you said, create these shadows within ourselves. And we put all, you know, and I'm not saying that harm isn't done. Of course it happens.
Mm-hmm.
But especially as we get older, we start learning, okay, I'm not responsible for what happened to me, but I surely am responsible for my healing. I surely am responsible for the change. Please go ahead. I know you want to say something.
And I had a similar experience as that. It was over a year ago. I had, had mentioned to my mother that I had, been in touch with my biological family, and they, had been wanting to see me and things of that nature. And she said to me, I knew we should have just let you go with your kind of people. I knew that we shouldn't continue the adoption. And the old me before the awakening would have been like, okay, fuck you, hang up. I'm just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you bitch. But I wasn't angry. because what she was saying, it got more in depth to things that she said that hurt me very much. But instead of hurting, I had that awakening moment of, aha, this is why you treated me the way you did. This is why things went down the way they did. And this is why we have the strained relationship we have. And she hung up the phone and she said, I thought you were never going to call me again. And I called her the next day and I said, you know what? I said, I love you and I forgive you. And I said, I thank you for being honest with me, how you truly felt the whole time as I was a child, as I was brought into your home. I said, I thank you for that. And it taught me to grow, to have empathy towards her and stop blaming her and stop hating her and understand why things went the way or why she said hurtful things or why this happened or that happened and why I feel like I always had to hide things from her because of I didn't want to be hurt or I didn't want to hear the negativity. But it was for the first time in my life, and I had talked to my cousin recently, and I said I have empathy for her, and I said I love her, and all I want for her to do is to be able to find her happiness within her because she has been through so much herself that she can leave this earth at peace. And my cousin said, I have never heard you talk about your mother and have empathy or even to be able to speak in the mindset that you're speaking of your mother.
That's so beautiful, Brenda. I'm listening to everything you're saying, but that's just so beautiful. Are you there? You got stuck, Brenda.
Therapist and you were a narcissist and you were this. And I realized, like, no, I'm not going to blame you for my life because at some point I made choices for myself.
Well, and there's also an esteem that's developed within oneself when we choose to take responsibility. When we choose to take responsibility, listen, I blamed everything else. You know, I wanted understanding.
Yes.
Like I wanted to be heard and I wanted to be understood. And I didn't want to be treated like I was, out of my mind and something's wrong with you, Ida. When no, these are real happenings that happened to me and I'm not going to be quiet about it anymore. And I need to speak and I need to share how I feel. And I'm doing it for me, not so that I can, not looking to attack and condemn. I need to speak my truth.
And my biggest
and nobody decides for anybody when their healing should be done. Right? Nobody decides how much pain. Well, I might have experienced something that didn't bother me to the extent that it may somebody else, or something that I normally would be able to blow off and it not be a big deal to me may be very hurtful to somebody else. You know what I mean? Depending on the level of conscious awareness that we're dealing with and people's own self-development, spiritual development, healing, self-actualization, all the things, and I'll say this again, and we're gonna have to close soon. She has another show after this. But I definitely want to have you back on, Brenda, because I think this is very helpful for a lot of people. And I know that people are going to have it, they're going to be going to this show and they're going to be listening. They're going to be like, yes, because there are people that are newly awakening, that are wanting and seeking and having experiences they don't understand, just like you and I, when we first had our awakenings, right? I had mine in 2011, but I definitely came in awake and I was used but even like I said, so there's some things that have to shift within me or some release that needs to be done, because while I don't mind sharing my story or sharing my experiences so that there's a way to resonate with one another, but this show is about solutions, not being, so I know at the end of this month, some things are going to shift for me, and I would love to have you come back because I want to work with people that are about sharing their gifts so that we can help other people. And I do it, behind the scenes. I don't do it in the way you do it. I do it through doing these videos, but I connect with people all over the place, and I talk to them, and I mentor and I help. I haven't really made it a business, so to speak, and and maybe one day it will be, but I'm doing what I'm doing. I haven't announced that yet, so I won't say it because I want to completely. Well, we'll talk about it after I get off here, but after we get off here. Thank you, Brenda. Thank
You're
you for coming on as a guest. I know that I kind of get, because guests will share certain things and it triggers a thought in my mind, and I'm like, wanting to engage and share my thoughts and so forth. But I see you. I see what you're doing.
Thank you.
Admire you. I honor your divinity. You're beautiful.
Thank
Your
you.
love, your kindness, your compassion. I appreciate you. I want you to know that. Yeah.
Thank you.
And you're doing it. You're not just talking about it, you're being about it. And that's what we want to do around this camp. We want to be about our business. We want to do what So, and I aspire to get to a place where I feel confident enough to really work with people on a bigger scale one day. And I too had that dream of being on the stage and sharing my story. And I start writing a book, and I had publishing companies and all kinds of stuff. And then I went through some things and reminding me that I wasn't there yet, that I still had a lot of healing in my own darkness that I needed to work through and so forth. And I'm not all the way there yet, but I'm definitely much further than I used to be, for sure.
And we're always here to work on ourselves. It doesn't matter.
Thank you for coming on. We're going to end the show. And if you're willing, if you could stay on for a few minutes afterwards.
Sure.
And we'll just chat for a few minutes. But everybody, all Brenda's information, her contact information will be in the comments on my YouTube channel, Ida for Hot, AIDAFARHAT, Conscious Art Solutions on YouTube. You could also find it on Soma Fusion Media, but it will definitely be under in my comment section, all her contact information. If you want to make a donation for her readings today, or you want to reach out to her to book a session, I'm sure that Brenda would be glad to. Maybe if it's okay for people to reach out to you on Messenger, is that how you prefer people contact you? Or okay, that way she, it's a pretty quick response. I know I reached out to her and I got a quick response, and I had a reading that evening, so I was very blessed that she was able to fit me in that evening. And get in touch with her and work with her, because she's doing amazing things. And please go to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, hit the bell. I will have Brenda on again, and we'll work out the details of that. Maybe in a month or two, we'll have her come back whenever she wants to. She's welcome anytime. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, ma'am. So we'll go ahead and close it. Everybody have a super blessed night. And there's also a series on my YouTube channel called Shadow Work with Emma Broomhall. If you want to go there and check out some of the videos with her, it's worth it. We're just starting the inner child work. Now, she has some personal things going on, so it'll be 3 weeks before we pick that series back up. Maybe we can have you come on, and you and Emma do a round table.
Yeah.
Because Emma, I'm telling you, you talk about doing deep dive, inner work, shadow work. She's the woman you want to talk to. Okay. She's So we can help each other. And
that's the whole point, is for us to help each other.
Yeah. She's given me a workbook that is like that thick, and I haven't even gotten there yet, and I will. That's really deep dive in inner child work. I mean, I'm willing to always, but I find that I'm trying to do too much. That's
right.
Basically, I'll admit it, but I know that it'll all get done. I'll say that. All right, guys, thank you for coming on. Thank you for watching. Again, thank you, Brenda.
Sure.
Good luck to everybody, and come next Thursday. if you want, check out some Effusion and the live for next Thursday. I have a special guest coming on next Thursday. That will be exciting. Yep. And that's it. Thank you.